Greg Parsley, Superintendent for the Vincennes Community School Corporation. As you are most likely aware, Governor Holcomb issued a school closure for the remainder of the school year last Thursday. That news came a little earlier than we were anticipating, but it is what has become and ending the traditional setting. That does not mean that school by any stretch of the imagination is done. It just means in the traditional setting. I want to talk a little bit about that this morning. As you're aware, the Vincennes Community School Corporation is working with e-learning. We will continue to do e-learning through the middle of May. In fact, May 14th will be the last day that we will do the e-learning or packets. At the elementary and the middle school level, those students should all have their work as we're doing e-learning on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Your teachers and staff provided you enough work to get you through May 1st. We will be organizing something later in April to get you through those 2 weeks that we will need to take care of in May, and again, May 14th being the end point. At the high school, primarily they're focused on Google Learning, and teachers are pushing their lessons out via Google and doing that daily, and again, during that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I know that some of our elementary and middle school teachers are also using Google, but they should be communicating with the student and you as the parent if they are choosing to do Google lessons, that you would have to go in there and check. It shouldn't be anything in terms of a surprise or that you need to automatically go to Google. As you're aware, we have all sorts of videos that are uploaded on the BCSC website that talks about Google Classroom and help that if you need it and so forth. Let me focus upon some other aspects and the importance of students doing their work at this present time. I think it would be easy to assume that, well, we're not doing school in that traditional manner right now, that now might be a time to slide on the academics or not doing your work. That is not anything that has been stated. And when the governor closed schools, he only closed the buildings. He did not shut down education. In fact, education is viewed as an essential service that we are pushing out and providing. So within that, students, you have to continue to do your work. Teachers will provide feedback and grades and different things for students. That may be the completion of that work, meaning that you move to that next grade level. Or seniors, I can't impress upon you enough, and I know as I've written and verbalized, I feel the pain for our seniors. That's a tough group. I mean, this should be that fun point in the year for you as we begin to wrap some things up. But you do have work that you have to continue to do. Maybe it pertains to getting your academics honors diploma. Maybe it's things for the Vincennes University Early College, for those AP classes, just to get you through to that diploma. And let me talk just a little bit and specifically to our seniors and to the parents of our seniors. I anticipate Mr. Combs coming out with a message later today that's going to speak to what graduation and commencement may look like. Unfortunately, we know that May 22nd in the formal setting is not going to be a realistic situation. I know that he is preparing and is finishing up some of the logistics of getting diplomas to students in May, and what that may look like, because certainly seniors, we know that you need your diplomas and are going to make all the plans to get those to you. We also want to look at maybe some type of formal ceremony, but unfortunately it's probably going to be this summer, and I think you can anticipate that Mr. Combs will push some of that information out. But seniors, we need you to continue to work and work hard just as you have for all the years that you've been in this system, and finish strong on certainly what is a senior year that you will never forget, and none of our students are going to forget. Let me talk just a couple of additional things from the academic side. When it comes to work, and parents and guardians and others, as you're working with students and you're having problems, maybe it's with an assignment or you have questions, we would kind of ask that you follow a three-tier system. The first line of defense is that you go to the teacher. Our teachers are available from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. I know many of our teachers are doing things outside of those hours and checking in the morning, the afternoon, and the weekends, and just being the professionals that they always are. But that dedicated time of 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, you may not get an immediate response or within seconds or minutes, but teachers are checking during that time frame. But if you have a question regarding an assignment, we would ask that you please go or email those teachers. If you're not getting the response that you need, then at that point we ask that you go to the building principal, and then from there to the VCSC helpline if you're still struggling or need some help. When it comes to those assignments, maybe it's the packets, maybe it's the learning in terms of feedback, and what does that look like? Feedback comes in different forms. It may not always necessarily be a grade. And that's something that I think students and parents need to understand. When we are doing things in the traditional classroom setting, not everything receives a grade. From my standpoint, it's important that some type of feedback is provided to the student that yes, you're on the right path, or no, maybe we need to tweak. But I would just ask that you understand that not everything may receive a grade. Let me simply say some thank yous. I certainly want to thank our teachers and staff for all the work that they are doing in these unprecedented times. And this is a new area and avenue for them. We were one of the last schools, as many of you know, to even get into e-learning. But I think our teachers and staff have chosen and risen above that level. I want to thank our parents and our guardians and grandparents and brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, whoever you may be that are helping our children and students, your children, when it comes to these assignments. You didn't anticipate that the last 9 weeks that you would essentially be a stay-at-home teacher or having to do the things. And I know in messages that have been sent to me, messages that have come through the VCSC helpline, messages to our principals, many of you are handling this with a tremendous amount of just being positive, and anything that certainly we can do to help you, we want to be there. But we thank you for the work that you're doing with your students and children, and impressing upon them that, you know, this is not a vacation time. We still have work to do. Let me transition away from the academics into food service. You know that Mondays have been reserved for food service pickup. We have ended pickup or curbside pickup at the high school simply because the high school has become a delivery satellite. We're pushing out almost 400 meals in the delivery standpoint. We are capped when it comes to being able to provide delivery right now. We do have a waiting list. If that is something that interests you, I would ask that you email the VCSC helpline and we will add you, but with an understanding that there's very likely and is already others in front of you, and it may not work out, but we can certainly put you on the list. We do continue with the curbside pickup, and we're doing that at Washington, which is the base of that Washington school for our Franklin Elementary students, Tecumseh, Harrison, Vigo, and Riley. I've said this many times. If you're a high school student, you can go to Riley. If you're a middle school student, you can go to Tecumseh, Harrison. It makes no difference which location. All 4 of those locations, we simply chose them because they're centrally located, but you can go to any one of those locations. Now, something that we are having to tweak a little bit is just kind of checking to be sure that, and these are such minor instances, but where maybe parents have gone to 2 sites, or it's a mother and a father and not realizing that one went to one site and one went to the other. Because it's a state program with federal funds, we have oversight on the program that is directed to us, so we're trying to put a few more steps in. We're not trying to make things by any stretch an inconvenience. It's just we have to do things at the state and the federal level. So ask for your cooperation and continued patience there. I know another question, and moving away from food service, is student belongings, and we will begin to get a plan in place so that parents can pick up their student belongings and what that may look like. Obviously, the situation is not going to be at the present where we can allow parents and students to come into the buildings and pick up their student belongings. We're having those internal conversations, and just as soon as we have that plan in place, we'll certainly communicate, and most likely that will come from the building principal. But know that we are aware that we've got to figure out a plan to get those student belongings to where they belong. VCSC Helpline, I've spent some time in this message talking about that. What we would really like to transition the VCSC Helpline is in those catastrophic and emergency situations. We know people are hurting. We know that unfortunately folks have lost jobs. They need help. And we would like to transition that VCSC Helpline into an emergency situation. There's no guarantee that we're going to be able to get you the help, but utilizing the expertise of the people that we have and predominantly our social workers who go above and beyond, we can find those resources in this community, because this community is plentiful when it comes to resources, and would like to use that VCSC Helpline for that purpose. As I have, and I think every message that I have brought to you, issued some different disclaimers. You know, be smart, be safe, keep your distance. You know, I know people, and it's becoming a cliche, and again, I know folks feel like that, well, it's an opportunity, we can just run around or maybe go to Evansville. No, that's not what a stay-at-home order is. We realize that there are some folks that have those essential jobs, and we thank them for the jobs that they are performing and doing. But if you don't have to be out, don't be out. The sooner that we can practice all the things that we need to, that we've been told many times from the social distancing and washing your hands, hopefully the quicker we get out of this and that we can return to normalcy. But that means people have to stay at home, and that you only get out for those essential items. Be positive. I think that's probably something, and it's all in the demeanor and how you get up, certainly in the morning. And there's a lot going on around us, and folks feel like things are probably crumbling and people are losing jobs. And again, but I think if you can maintain a positive demeanor, certainly as the student, as the parent to students, that will certainly help us get through this as well. And hopefully we return to normalcy sooner rather than later. Our goal is to certainly see all of our students back here, and our graduating seniors will head off to the places that they will become, you know, the doctors and the engineers and all those different things that we certainly need. And we thank you. And we thank you for the job that you are doing.